This video is sponsored by Stockies, trading livestock with all the information.
Ladies and gentlemen, coming to you from somewhere in New Zealand, it's the YouTube show with Dave Benson.
Thank you everyone. Thank you for being here. Thank you for pressing that button. Thank you for watching. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, bots and algorithms, welcome back. Welcome back to the only show that dares to ask the hard-hitting questions like, is it too late to become a Minecraft streamer? And why does every YouTuber suddenly own a $5,000 coffee machine? Yes, this is the YouTube show. I'm Dave Benson. It's the #1 independent talk show on the planet, where dreams are made, trends are chased, and occasionally, just occasionally, dignity's lost. Firstly, I want to address the elephant in the room. This last week, I have suffered from a horrendous cold. It's true. It's true. And the only reason that my lip is so red is through excessive tissue use. That's why. Now, I want to assure everyone that this is not through any other means. I have not been attending any of the Trump cabinet meetings.
Mr. President, it's a privilege to serve.
I can't thank you enough for the privilege that you've given me and the leadership that you've shown.
Mr. President, thank you for the honor to serve the country. It's a great privilege you've given me.
I want to thank you for getting this country moving again and also working again.
What I'm continuing to hear is this renewed optimism.
For the opportunity and the blessing that you've given us to serve your agenda.
Now, before we dive into the trending vortex and see which poor soul is getting cancelled this week for something they tweeted during the Obama administration, let's just take a moment. Let's take a moment to appreciate YouTube itself. Oh, YouTube, the magical land where you can learn how to fix your car, build a shed, and lose all of your self-esteem watching a 14-year-old unbox an iPhone with better lighting than your entire adult life. YouTube is a place where a raccoon eating grapes gets 4 million views, and your meticulously crafted short film about existential loneliness gets 9 views, and one of them was your mum, who clicked on it by accident and still said that she got bored. But we keep going. We fight the good fight. We upload. We clickbait. We scream into the void and whisper into the thumbnails. Please just subscribe, because every subscriber counts. Except for that one guy. You know the one. The one who's commenting first when he's clearly not commenting first. Tom, if you're watching, stop it. You're embarrassing yourself. Now, today's show is jam-packed. Jam-packed. We've got guests, we've got shorts that are trending harder than your aunt's dancing on TikTok, and we've got absolutely no idea what's going on. But trust me, neither do half the people on YouTube, and they've got merch. So, grab your questionable energy drink, adjust your light ring, and prepare yourself for a roller coaster of pixels, pop culture, and the occasional, whoops, I forgot to hit record moment. This is the YouTube show. I'm Dave Benson, and we're about to roll into the good stuff. First up, spelling. The art of putting letters in the right order. Unless you're this person. Then it's more like a game of Scrabble, blindfolded during an earthquake.
We're going to have for dinner, we're going to have P-I-Z-Z-A, P-I-Z-Z-A, P-I-Z-Z-A. We're going to have some
tacos.
Slides. The childhood thrill ride that teaches us gravity is not just a theory, because nothing says fun like an unexpected faceplant.
Try to sit up straight. There, okay, no. Oh.
Virtual reality. The only thing more real than the graphics is the embarrassment when you forget you're in the living room. Watch as this prank turns faster than you can say, watch out for the clock.
I told you, I know, I want to play. This is insane.
insane right now.
It's insane, right? It's insane. Oh my God. Okay, fine. All right, fine, take it off, fine. Boring. Oh my God. There's a...
Marriage. It's built on trust. It's built on love. And the occasional prank that makes your spouse question all of it. Here's a bladder-bursting joke that proves some things are better left unflushed.
Yeah?
That was like the world's longest pee.
Oh my gosh, that's such a stomachache.
Are you okay?
I'm getting there. Oh my gosh, Dave, I'm gonna need you to give me a bucket or something. I'm running out of room.
What?
Do you have a bottle or something? I'm really soon.
There's a cup. That's all I got.
Once I start peeing, I can't stop.
We've got an amazing show for you today. First up, we are blessed with the presence of YouTube sensation Chike Evans. We're also talking to the amazing actor Terry Holmes. Let's roll the titles.
Welcome to the YouTube show, madness on demand. Waves of laughter, tears, and chaos at your hand. Lost inside the streams where dreams expand. Welcome to the YouTube show, can't understand.
This one's a good one, guys. From one-man puppet shows in elementary school to portraying a gold prospector in a Canadian television series, today's guest has lived a life worthy of its own screenplay. A gifted artist, storyteller, veteran, and performer, his journey has taken him from outlaw biker bar to the world of voiceover and historical reenactments. And he's just getting started.
Howdy, name's William Morris. Bill's what some call me. Now, many had a, whatchamacallit? A sluice box for prospecting. But all I could afford was a pick hammer, a pan, and maybe a tent to sleep in.
Ladies and gentlemen, please give a warm welcome to the multi-talented Terry Holmes. Terry!
Hey, Dave, how's it
going? Now, before we get started, Terry, I'm very curious. It says in front of your name, T.E. Terry Holmes, but I can't find what the hell T.E. stands for.
That's actually my first two initials, my first and middle name, and I just use it for professional purposes. I go by Terry.
Ah, okay, so that makes more sense. Oh, it's lovely to have you on the show. Let's have a chat about the start. Has it always been showbiz and glamour for you in your dreams? Is that what you always wanted? Because you were quite an artistic child with the puppet show.
Yeah, as a kid, from a very early age, basically out of the womb, I said, I was always born with a crayon in my hand as an artist. And when I was about second grade or whatever, I had a bunch of hand puppets that my aunt had made me, and I started doing puppet shows in my classroom. And they became a real big hit. And from there, it went on to doing my own productions, plays in class for book reports like Tom Sawyer and Huck Finn and 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. And I would write, direct, and star in them. And, at that point on, I really wanted to be like an actor. And when I got to high school, things kind of took a shift, a different direction. I moved to Bellingham from Seattle, and I was like a duck out of water. I came in, I was at basically a rich kid's school. We were not poor, but we were middle income. And I came in looking like an extra from an old Hell's Angel movie. And he didn't know how to deal with that. And so I was kind of ostracized, I guess, and the drama club wasn't too welcoming. So I kind of, my whole thing shifted. I ended up hooking up with the local outlaw biker club, and from there it was like a 40-year journey to where I am now.
Oh man! So what is an outlaw biker club do? What is it? Just like a gang, or?
Well, you get me saying gang, and I'm going to get in trouble with people. We're not a gang; we're a club. It depends on the group. I was more when I got into it back in the 80s. I started in 1980 running around with a pretty well-known group, and they're now international. And I don't want to drop names or nothing, but it was more about partying and just so-called brotherhood and just raising hell.
One thing I also read, you were a private investigator as well. Now, I've got the stereotypical wearing a Mac with a camera, like looking at husbands in the 1940s cheaping and like taking photos. Is that what it was like?
If I was in LA, you got, like a city like Los Angeles, for instance, you got people that specialize in that kind of thing, cheating spouses. That's all they do. It's big money. Because that's the alimony state too, right? Up here is more like a glorified process server going around serving documents to people or trying to avoid getting eaten by pit bulls and everything else, And I had shorter hair back then. I wouldn't say I fit in, but there was some acting going along with that too, because you'd go in, trying to get information on people and not give away just who you were and what you were all about, and so it was. There was some acting involved in that, You think about it, I never really did at the time, but now that I think about it, yeah.
And it all came back round to acting. So, I mean, after such a long period away, what was it that brought you back in and said, I want to get back into this?
I never gave up the dream. It was always there. It's just little things that happen. When I went back to school late in life, got a degree, in criminal justice. This was before I did the private investigator gig. And one of my professors headed up a film class there, and he was involved with the local community. And he came up to me and says, "Have you ever thought about being an actor? You got this personality and you're a big guy. You'd be a good heavy." And I just kind of laughed, and went, but that started something kind of clicking. Kind of bringing that dream, that desire, that urge back to the surface. And it was during the pandemic, actually, that it gave me a boost. I was in a long-term relationship, or long-distance relationship, I should say. And so I was flying down to Los Angeles back and forth every few months. And while I was down there, I ran into this kid at a Starbucks. He had an old Volkswagen, and so he was having problems with it, and I went over to help him out. And I ran into him again later at the same Starbucks, and he comes up to me and says, "Are you a biker?" And I laughed, and I says, "Yeah, I guess you'd call me that." And he says, "Look, man, I'm getting ready to do I'm trying to get financing, and I want to do this kind of like it's a short film, and I'm going to direct it. I'm going to be in it, and I need some guys that are kind of rough looking that ride, really ratty looking choppers and stuff, and they're going to be in it. And I would love for you to be the leader of the gang. And do you know anybody?" And I said, "Do I know anybody?" Yeah. It's like, I knew all kinds of guys down there. So I started rounding people up and talking to them about making a list, get them interested in this. But like a lot of things happen in the entertainment business, especially during the pandemic, the financing just wasn't there. So it never came through. But, at that moment, it was like, man, that was a close call, with the whole dream. And from that moment, I'm like, I'm gonna start pursuing this. And I didn't quite know where to start. And I had a friend involved with Giuseppe Franco's salon in Beverly Hills. She knew a lot of people, and we would talk a lot. And so she encouraged me, and It was last August. I don't know if you know who Andy McPhee is.
No.
But he's a character actor. He's from Australia. He's been in like Sons of Anarchy, and he played an ape in Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. He's in Saving Mr. Banks, a whole slew of stuff. Anyways, he's also an acting coach. And he came to Bellingham, where I'm at, last August, and did a actors intensive. And I had never done something like that. And I thought that's a good way to get my toes back in the water. And so I did it. It was a blast. I learned a lot about myself. It was intensive. There's a reason why they call it intensive. And for that moment on, you know, I had my LinkedIn for my art business that never went really anywhere for 7 years, didn't do anything with. So I tweaked it, made it my acting LinkedIn. And boy, I tell you what, I started making connections with people in the industry, both with major studios and independents. And I've been getting a lot of boosts. And as you know, I did the episode for When Paintings Come Alive up in Canada. I played the gold prospector in the 1800s for their episode, Mighty Fraser River, and that got a lot of boost. A lot of people liked it. They said, "Man, you're like somebody that came right out of the 1800s."
Did you meet Daniel there? Did you know Daniel before that?
No. He found me through LinkedIn. I did like 4 different posts where I took artistic works that kind of look like me, and I called them my doppelgangers. And I had like fantasy, I had historical, and I had modern. And one of the historical ones was a gold prospector. And so he saw that, and probably saw some of my videos where I kind of ramble and talk about stuff. And we connected through that. And so, yeah, that's how I got the gig. And Daniel and I have become good friends. And I'm hoping one of these days to get up there across the border. He's right across the border from me. I'm right on the U.S.-Canadian border, just about 15-minute drive on the freeway south of it. And one of these days, I'd like to get up there and do a little gold panning with him.
Oh, I do love Daniel. I did say to Daniel, if you ever find a role for a bald-headed white guy, I could be ideal. So I'm still waiting for his call.
He'll come.
So what's the dream role for you, Terry? What's the dream role, and who would you most like to work with?
I've always wanted to do the story of Buffalo Bill Cody. And I always thought, man, I could play an older Buffalo. People said I look like him, you know, and I thought, well, I could play the older Buffalo Bill. And matter of fact, I portrayed him when I did the Actors Intensive, one of our little skits or things we did in class. We had to be like different characters, and I picked Buffalo Bill and got all dressed up and played the showman. And I would love to do that. I've always had that in mind. I'll tell you what, an actor I would love to work with, and people sometimes say I kind of look like him, is Jeff Bridges. And you know, I was in a social media group for pipe smokers because once in a while I like to imbibe in a tobacco pipe, and they all thought that Jeff Bridges had jumped in. You know, they were like, "It's the dude," you know, from Big Lebowski, right? And I had a good laugh over that. But I thought, you know what would be cool is if Jeff, if you're out there listening, you know, take note of this, is like a Western. And we could play like estranged half brothers. He's the older one. I'm the younger, wilder one. He could be like the town marshal, and I'm the outlaw that comes to town and stirs up a bunch of trouble and family drama and everything. And you know what I mean? That would be great.
Jeff, if you're listening, call now. The details will be found right here below, Jeff.
Yeah, please do.
You've also had some unexpected roles as well, playing a bodyguard for a mob-connected individual.
That was back in the 80s, back in my biker days. I took a driving job, and you know, it was from here in the Northwest down to Los Angeles and back for this guy. I was hired to be a passenger with my friend. My friend actually got hired, and my friend didn't want to drive down there by himself. So I got hired to be like the ride along. And this guy claimed to be a college professor, but it was the weirdest thing. Okay, first he takes us to a fancy restaurant. Order whatever you want, boys, on the menu. I had steak and lobster. This guy's paying with cash. He's got wads of cash. And then he wanted us to drop him off at SeaTac, Seattle International Airport. As he was taking a flight from Seattle to Hong Kong. He had property in Hong Kong.
Wow.
And he was hiding, he had like this pet carrier with this really fancy little dog that was real rare. I forget what kind of dog it is now. But before we went in the airport, he was stashing bills, hundreds and hundreds of bills under the paper lining of this carrier that he was going to carry on with this dog. And he instructed us, this was back, before 9/11 and all that, obviously, where you could go from the gate or go from, security all the way to the gate and see your friends off or meet them or whatever. You can't do that now, obviously. But so he told us, he instructed us, I don't want you leaving the airport until you actually see my plane up in the air. And by that time, I'm getting real nervous. I'm thinking, man, I wish I had a gun. It's like, what's going on here? And long story short, we've kind of figured out he had some mob connections because a professor like he doesn't have property in Colorado, Los Angeles, Bellingham, Hong Kong. He's carrying big wads of cash. There's something fishy going on there, And anyways, the journey turned into a bit of a nightmare in the end because we were in Los Angeles and the guy was also a drunkard and he started accusing us of stealing his car, which he let us use. And so we were wanted in 3 states. And yeah. But fortunately, he had slipped up and said he was still getting the car through the bank. And so I looked in the glove box and there I found the loan officer's name on some forms. And so I said to my buddy, the bank was here in Bellingham. I says, when we get back to town, you park the car at the bank, drop me off at my place, take the car to the bank, put the key and a note in an envelope and put it in the night deposit box. Park it right there by the front door. Explain the situation. We got a call the next day from the bank saying, hey, you really saved us some money. We were looking to repossess that car. And so they got all the charges dropped.
Oh, man.
Oh, man. The 80s were wild.
What's next for Terry? What have you got coming up? Any new projects or roles you're working on?
Well, nothing that I can firmly say that's etched in stone, but I've been talking to a friend of mine. He's an executive producer. I'm not going to drop names or nothing because, like I said, nothing is out there yet. But he's been talking to me about a couple of projects he's got coming up. One of them's I will say this much, is like a medieval fantasy. So I'd be like a knight or a warrior or something like that, which, he says, man, you'd be perfect for that with your hair and everything. And we've talked about that. I've been talking to a couple people, but nothing really etched in stone yet. And I'll tell you, as soon as I do get something, you'll be one of the first to know.
Terry, it's an absolute pleasure to talk to you. For any details about Terry, please look at the links here below. You'll be able to click on and make contact. He's on LinkedIn. We'll be back right after these messages.
Pour it slow, feel the glow in the night. Tequila burns, but it feels so right. Margarita whisper sweet delight. Yep, this party gonna take flight. Real tequila, mango, peach, so divine. No fake sweeteners crossing this line. No carbonation, no nonsense in the air. Just the flavor, pure and rare.
All right, joining me today is a dynamic force in the world of media and entertainment. As a creator and host of his acclaimed series on YouTube, he is engaged in insightful dialogues with a diverse array of artists, entrepreneurs, and cultural icons. Beyond hosting, he's a multifaceted talent, an actor, filmmaker, producer, and writer. He's also a co-host of The Stephen Knight Show and contributes as staff writer for platforms like Philly Soul and Own Ambassador. His commitment to storytelling and community engagement shines through in all his endeavors.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Conversations with Chike Evans. Welcome to another segment of Conversations with Chike Evans.
DJ's grandstand, late night vibes with the coffee in his grip. He's got the flow that makes the
What's going on, my
audience
people?
flip.
How's everybody doing? Welcome to Conversations with Chike Evans.
He's the host with the most.
But I'm coming on the West Coast, and I'm gonna party with you, Lori Petty.
But guess what? I don't really be going out. I go to bed at 8
You ain't got to. We can do.
We can party at my backyard.
We'll start from the beginning.
Please give a big warm welcome to the one and only Chike Evans. Chike, welcome. How you doing?
Dave, I don't think I've ever had such a great introduction in my entire life. You did a wonderful job. I appreciate it.
Now, Chike, I want to kick off. You live in Philly, right?
Philly, yes. I'm in South Jersey, which is maybe 13 miles away from Philadelphia.
Okay, all right. So I thought you were in Philly. And the reason I was saying that is because, believe it or not, I lived in Philly for a period of time, for back in the early 2000s. And my question to you is about the best cheesesteak. I mean, we've got to get this straight down.
So I'm going to get in a lot of trouble by saying this, but Philly cheesesteaks are great, but some of the better ones are in South Jersey. I'm just going to say. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Chike, you can't say that.
Yeah. We can have a whole debate about it, but for a number of reasons, I prefer the ones in South Jersey better. If you have to put Cheese Whiz on a cheesesteak, it's no bueno.
And when I was last in Philly, I went to Pat's, and I thought I was doing the right thing by having 2 cheesesteaks. I thought this is a wise idea. That Cheese Whiz is not made for the human body. That is all I will say. Never do that.
Right.
Instant regret. Let's kick off with your work. So, entertainer, entrepreneur, filmmaker, writer, producer, media host. Is there anything you're not doing at the minute?
Well, one thing you did not mention, I also am a medical professional. I am an anesthesia technologist, and I work in the healthcare field as well. So, yeah.
Wow. What's an anesthesia technologist do?
So basically, we work alongside the anesthesiologist to ensure patient safety, and I'm more inept with the equipment as opposed to the biological and clinical. I do save lives. I do, CPR compressions and all that, but I'm more on the mechanical, technical part of it.
So where's your passion? Where do your dreams lie? Because you've got so many things going on right there.
The anesthesiology pays the bills, and the passion is, all the art.
Yeah.
I feel like in my life, my quest to follow my passion was a little late. And so when I found it, I attacked it with vigor. So here I am now as Chike Evans on the entertainment media side.
I mean, that's an interesting topic, and that's a very something I can relate to quite well. Was it that the opportunities weren't around when you were growing up to be able to get into your passions as much? So it took you down a different path, and now with the likes of YouTube and social media, you've been able to say, hey, I'm going to make a change and I can do that, or was it something else?
I've always had a passion for the arts. I started out as a professional dancer. I used to dance for 80s hip hop groups. I used to travel around, and I was one of the backup dancers on stage. And it took me on the road. I got to meet some wonderful people. But, college happened, real life happened. I was raised by strict parents. You have to get an education if you want to be, something in this life. And so I took a path that I thought would be more practical for me, something where I could earn a living consistently, have health care, all that stuff. So I took that road. But the entertainment part kept calling me. And I would jump in and jump out, jump in and jump out. I wrote here and there, but nothing really serious. And I think at the age, I think I was 35, I went on an audition, and I've never been on an audition before. And I did a really good job. And the lady asked me, would I commit to it? And then she says, she seen my age, and she says, what made you wait so long? And then my heart broke because I felt like, it's too late for me. But then I stewed on that thought, and I was like, it's never too late. And I dug in, and I dug my heels in,
and here I am today. Now it's Chike Evans.
So you say the arts. Was acting the main thing that you always wanted to do, or was it hip-hop dancing?
Well, the dancing part kind of came naturally. That was just something that I've always, even as a little kid, I was dancing. And I've done a lot of things. I've traveled with choral groups. We've won awards and, choral assemblies, and I've done acting. I was in plays and stuff. So I've always performed. The writing was something that I've always done. So I just decided to take all of my gifts and do something about them. The portal, though, was what you and I are doing, was me doing a podcast. And the podcast allowed me to have different relationships. And, you forge your relationships and you make alliances. And I would go on movie sets and interview actors and directors and producers. And one time I was on set and someone said, hey, we just created a scene. Can you get in there? And so I did, and that kind of kicked the acting bug to where it is now. And I've been in 4 films thus far since that point. And so, this portal of podcast is what really set the fire.
It's a powerful portal these days to be able to see different worlds. And what I'm experiencing is meet so many cool different people that in my life I would never have spoken to. I absolutely love that.
Yeah.
You have some amazing guests on your podcast. Faith Evans. I was like, what's going on there? That's insane. And you guys know each other. It was quite clear.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we go way back to earlier on in her career. And again, it's a testament of taking advantage of the space that you're in and actually networking with people. We're living in an age where technology is sometimes a hindrance in the human quotient. And, you're at concerts and you want to put up your phone and you want to film. It's fine to have the memory, but the realness is that connection that you make. And many a times I was on the side of a Faith Evans stage and she saw me and she noticed me. There was no phone in between. And so there was a connection. And then there would be other circles where we would meet and talk and, we buttered a relationship.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
In one of your movies, I think it was Transition, you portrayed a radio personality and a disc jockey. Were you able to draw on real life experience for that role?
So the actual scene that I filmed was basically a radio celebrity meet and greet. And I was actually introducing an artist and throwing out paraphernalia. I've done that working with independent music labels when they're promoting a new artist and you go to a site and you promote the artist and you throw out merch like hats and shirts. So I've lived that already. So I kind of knew what that was. The radio disc jockey part, I didn't actually have to be in the radio station acting like a disc jockey. It was just the personal meet and greet of handing out merch, which I've done already. So it was something I already knew how to do.
So when did the podcast start, and what suddenly sparked in you to say, fuck it, I'm gonna give this a go and start a podcast, and this is the avenues I want to go down?
So 2010, I lost a relationship, I lost a job, and I was very ill, like close to death ill.
Oh, wow.
And getting well from the illness, that was like the third thing that happened. I was on unemployment, I wasn't working, and I needed something to do because I was depressed. I needed something to do. And a friend of mine asked me to take a trip. We were going to go to Atlanta, and I had no money. I wasn't in the mood to travel anywhere. I just wanted to lay in the bed and sulk and wallow in my sorrows. And my friend actually forced me to get up and to go out, and I went to Atlanta. And when I was in college, I met a gentleman by the name of Stephen Knight. And we remained friends through the years. And Stephen Knight had told me when I saw him, because he lives in Atlanta, I'm starting a podcast called The Stephen Knight Show. Listen to it, critique it, get back to me after you hear the first couple of episodes and let me know what you think. And I did just that. And I gave him my viewpoints. And he said, why don't you join the team? I did. And that was the start of me going into podcasts. Me being on the Stephen Knight Show influenced me to actually start conversations with Chike Evans. And being on the Stephen Knight Show also opened up those initial doors for me to start doing other things. And like I said, I was very aggressive, so I hit the ground running. I was doing personal appearances. I was going to events in the name of the Stephen Knight Show because I also produced the show, and I was pulling in guests. So I would go to concerts. Hey, I'm Chike from the Stephen Knight Show. Is it possible that I can get an interview with you? We're going to schedule it. Then I would have those people on the show. The Stephen Knight Show is a 2-time award-winning podcast. We're very proud of that. It's been in existence for 14 years. And I'm very thankful to have had that platform because, again, that opened up the door for so much more.
And how do you pick your guests for your show these days? What's the avenue you look at and say, I think that's the right person?
I ask, and it's whatever inspires me. So it could be anyone, because you're going to be on my show as well, too. You inspire me. So it's just a matter of asking. I reach out, people say no, people say yes. Some people say I don't know, and then they check me out, and then they see what I'm all about, and then they come back and they say yes. But for the most part, it's been all positive. I don't have anything negative to say.
I feel. And who's been your favorite to date? Who's the best guest that you've had on? And that's not to say any of the others are bad. Who's your favorite, though?
So I won't give you a favorite, but I will tell you a type.
Okay.
The type of my favorite guest are the ones that I catch on their rise up.
Right.
And it's something about an artist or an entrepreneur that inspires me, which makes me want to have them on the show. And then I say maybe 5 to 10 years time, they've grown like 10 times exponentially greater than what they were when I had them on the show. But that relationship is already formed. And I just love to see people grow that way. And they always remember me for offering a platform.
And you've got an upcoming movie coming out, Providence. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, well, Providence is a crime drama. And as of right now, and I can't tell you when we're coming out because we're still in post-production. There's a lot of things that we're going to do because as of to date, this will probably be the biggest film that I've done and been a part of the production team. My friend, Linnea Love, it was her vision. I'm always in movies with her. We were always, throwing back ideas of artistry. And so I'm close to her, very close to her. And she's putting all the nuts and bolts, the final nuts and bolts on it to get it for production to be to the masses.
Nice. And what did you do in that one? What was your character?
So my character, see, it's part of a little, what can I call it? A twist. And I don't want to give too much, but it's a case of mistaken identity.
Oh, wow. Oh, okay. And it's a decent role. It's like talking and, you're not just bodybuilder number 6.
No, it's talking. It's interaction. It's a little violence too. Yeah.
Oh, so you're look at that, like you're a karate expert.
You have to watch and see.
Damn it. I'll keep going. So what else have you got coming up? Are you working on any other projects?
So as of right now, I'm just working on conversations with Chike Evans. I have an upcoming interview with Mr. Rufus Black. If you don't know Mr. Rufus Black's name, you might want to Google him. He has been the writer of some of the most influential songs in American music. He was also a huge hip-hop star in the early 90s. And I just want to catch up with him because actually in my Faith Evans interview, him and Faith are actually friends. He came in my Faith Evans interview and I saw his name. So I was like, oh, I have to talk to him. So I reached out to him and he said yes. So he'll be my next guest. It'll probably be next Friday, I think.
Have you ever thought about doing a live show? Like, I mean, not live on the channel, but live and on a stage?
Maybe not like in the format of like what you do with an audience and all that stuff. So there's something similar in the works coming up, but that's not a Conversations with Chike Evans. It's more of an empowerment symposium. So we'll be talking about the influence of the mind over success of life, but like in a forum. So there's going to be an audience. I'll be one of the moderators on stage. It won't necessarily be a talk show, but we will be immersed in conversation.
Well, at some stage, the YouTube show is going to absolutely be coming to do a live show in the States, and it would be wonderful to do some collaboration with you when I'm over.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
A whole lot of fun. Ladies and gentlemen, it has been an absolute pleasure to catch up with Chike today. All of his details can be found right here below. Please click on the links and subscribe to Conversations with Chike Evans. We'll be back right after these messages.
Hey everybody, welcome to the FreeMind Podcast. This is Rob Lee and we are doing acro yoga. All right, man, I got some questions for you this week.
And welcome back to the YouTube show.
You know my story, right? Rise to fame from the pain.